everybody. Welcome to the As You Are podcast. My name is Leslie Vandergans. I'm the founder of Enso Coaching and Consulting, and I'm here with one of our amazing coaches, Kathleen, and we have special guests from Dear Dry Drinkery here in Austin, Grace Vroom and Joe Patterson. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Good. Coming up on, I'm speaking of Dear Dry Drinkery, coming up on the tail end of Dry January.
Yeah? Yeah, we're tired. We are tired and ecstatic. It's been a wild ride to go through our first Dry January as Austin's right now only non-alcoholic bottle shop.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a blast, and and we'll be hibernating for the next 11 months.
It was exhausting, and we far exceeded even our wildest expectations. So
really?
It was successful for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's super exciting. Okay, well, first of all, how we know each other is we all work together. At least the three of us work together.
Kathleen, we'll be talking.
No,
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
All right. I could be working with you.
Yeah.
Potential. So we all worked together for, several years. Yeah, Joe and I worked together from like an events, team capacity. And Grace, we just knew each other and loved each other.
Yeah. I was like, I heard it was fun. And Joe and I just can't help but work together all the time.
I love that. Wait, how is that? How is that for you guys, like working together as a spouse?
Easy. That's how we.
like we're gonna say the same thing, right? Yeah.
It's how we met. We met. So I'm from Boston. Grace lived in Boston for a long time. We worked together for the same marketing agency, and we became really close. So I think we already come at it from like a understanding of each other's professional tendencies and things like that. And yeah, for me, I don't want to speak for you, but
no, I was like easy, right? And I think that's why we chose to continue working together. I think we share a lot of the same values and a lot of the same aspirations. And honestly, people come up and they're like, work with my partner. And in my mind, I'm like, why wouldn't I want to? Like, he already knows my flaws. He already knows my strengths, my few strengths. And then we just know how to work together. So why wouldn't we? It just flows easier if I bring in a business partner and I don't know how they work in stressful situations already.
Right.
There's going to be so much more time spent learning that. We already did that.
Yeah.
And if there's a problem to solve, we're used to that. And so we know how to do that quickly and effectively.
That's amazing.
And at the end of the day, whatever Grace says goes, and I understand that. I acknowledge that.
We're all the same.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so after we kind of our working relationship was all over, we kind of like left close to around the same time.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that you guys had opened the Dear Dry Drinkery in a truck. It was like a mobile truck, right?
Yeah.
What do they call them?
trailer.
Yeah. Mobile trailer. And then we got to see, we stopped by for the inaugural kickoff. So like, talk to us about like, how did you guys get to just that spot, like building that, the mobile trailer?
Yeah. So I was born May 12th.
Yeah. There's a whole journey.
Of course. So there's always a journey. And we can get to sort of the inspiration for all of it. But when we moved to Austin, I was getting sober, and it was taking a while, and I would sort of start and then stop, and it took a while, and Joe was just like, well, I'll get sober as well. And of course, my initial reaction was like, actually, you should be drinking everything, and I'm so sorry, and this is a burden for you. And he was just like, stop. We're going to do this together. So already incredible partner on so many levels. But socializing in Austin was just really difficult if you weren't drinking. It was really isolating to be the only one, if you were making friends, who wasn't having a fizzing, bubbling, beautiful cocktail brought to your table. Or if you wanted to go to an event, it was always sponsored by some big alcohol company. And so we developed sort of Topo Chico fatigue is what we call it. And we were like, we can only drink so many sparkling waters in one night. So we knew we just kept thinking about what we wanted for us. And because we knew other people felt that way as well. It can just be isolating in so many ways. And so we went through a couple of different iterations, but of what we wanted to do. And then we found a company that was doing these sort of custom-built trailers. And we thought we wanted to open up sort of a space where we could sell these drinks. But Sans Bar is actually, it's a non-alcoholic bar. It's the first one in the country in Austin. Mm-hmm. So we knew they were great. They were supportive of us. We loved going to that bar. We wanted to know how we could get those drinks. And so we could buy them online. It would cost us, you have to buy a case and then shipping. And this one comes from Canada. And we were spending so much money just getting them shipped to us, only to go, oh, this one actually isn't what we thought it was. So long story longer, we wanted a space, but we wanted it to be ours. We wanted to sort of own it. And so that felt very on brand with Austin, sort of this food truck culture that we have here. And it just felt doable for us to have something that we owned. We could take to events in a very event-heavy city. And so we got this trailer during a time when supply chain was a little insane, but we made it work. We opened it up and we were honored you were at our opening night of that.
Oh, so fun. It was so fun. So
and I do want to add to that, like, we wanted to open up a brick and mortar space, and we went to, look at spaces with realtors, and everyone laughed in our face. They were like, you want to open up a what? Non-alcoholic? Who the hell who cares? Why would anyone want to come to that?
Yeah.
So we, our second choice, our backup option was like, all right, we'll put it on wheels and we'll go to where people are. Yeah. And that proved to be successful. And, that sort of landed us into the position to open up a brick and mortar eventually.
So can you talk a little bit about like what was the kind of growth trajectory of the mobile dry drinkery and then how that kind of propelled into the brick and mortar?
Yes, we can. So we had this sort of custom built trailer, which again, we were like, so cute. We'll put it on wheels and we'll take it to events. Turned out kind of heavy. Like it was just one of those things where we just really wanted, again, we want it to be ours. We had all these landlords say, you're going to get a 5-year lease. You don't know. This is a concept that just hasn't been proven in this city yet. Bottle shops like this had opened up in New York and LA, but just not even in Texas yet. And so then, but you have to get a certain type of car that can carry that. I'm driving this thing. We're city kids, like I was like, are you going to put the generator on? We both have Birkenstocks. What's happening? And so, and we ended up finding a space at a food truck park. But that also was a little difficult because people couldn't sort of come in and look at the bottles. They couldn't really feel sort of the energy, I guess, that we were trying to put out there around like why these things were so dear to us, and how they helped facilitate these dear moments. And so mainly it was people like, I got a falafel, I'm walking around like, what? I'll do 2 tequila shots. It's non-alcoholic. And so we would just have to sort of explain this a lot, but it was still doing really well. Then we had a brand come up to us at a South by event that we hosted. And they were like, we want to be featured in shops. We don't want to be at the back of liquor stores. We don't want to be on just one shelf at Central Market. We want to be featured in a shop that only has non-alcoholic beverages. And I know for myself, when I wanted to go buy these things in person and go look at them and sort of see what, how I could use them, I would say, Joe, I need you to come with me to this liquor store because this is triggering for me as an alcoholic. And so we wanted something where you didn't have to have that sort of possibly negative or triggering experience. So he sort of talked to us about, he was really just encouraging this CEO of a local brand on just let's go look at spaces again. And we were like, look, we know we've been out there. They don't like us. And then we started going out and something had shifted. Mm-hmm. And everyone was like, oh, finally. Oh, yes, you guys are going to love this space. And we were like, oh. And so we ended up finding a really great spot on the east side. What was nice about the trailer was it helped us learn about our customer, learned about what they wanted, learned about we had been making mixed drinks from the trailer as well. We learned that they were really just wanting to know more about the products that went into that so they could entertain, so they could learn and experiment on their own. And so we wanted the east side where it was more walkable. We wanted to be near restaurants. So if people were honestly, what's great now is people will go get barbecue down the street and then they go, I'm too full. And then they sort of wobble into our shop and then we can just sort of express what we've got going on. Yeah. And so, yeah, we have a really great landlord now who he was like, look, let's just figure this out, put some shelves up and go. And so it's, a lot of people along the way who were just saying, let's try this out. Let's give this a shot. And that support has been really helpful.
Yeah. My gosh. It's like takes a lot of bravery to go stick your neck out and do something that nobody has done before. Like, what was it that kind of motivated you guys to take that chance?
I think it was the idea that we wanted something that we wish we had when we stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And like I said, we had seen it work in New York. We'd seen it work in LA. One had popped up in Houston maybe a year or two prior. So we knew the idea was feasible. We knew that there was a demand for it. And the trailer, showed us that as well. People would come by and be like, oh my God, thank God you guys are here. We're so happy to hear. And if that was the reaction we were getting on that like smaller scale, we knew if we expanded it, more people would find us, more people would be appreciative of what we were doing, and we could just help more people.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I from what I'm hearing too in this, it's and I think it's a cool business model where it's like you can experience a need, and if it's something that you're experiencing, probably there are other people experiencing it
Absolutely.
as well. And so having that business driven by like, what do I need in order to feel like I'm part of whatever the setting is, right? Like inclusivity is a huge thing.
I mean, the best businesses like look for where the gap is and then
Yeah.
stick themselves in the gap. So that's exactly what you guys have done, which is amazing.
Totally. And I think, something that we both have done is we've supported entrepreneurs through a lot of our career. And we thought like, these guys are crazy. But I think we also we learned a lot from watching entrepreneurs launch different businesses. And we were like, we can be behind the scenes and we can handle the details and the logistics so you can go dream. And so for us to feel like we could be the dreamers, but also have the skills to implement, it's been wild, but really fun and nice to be able to be the ones to say, yes, you look for the gap and you go for it, even if people say that there isn't a gap there. Even in like the places where we would pull the truck up, I mean, people would come up as we were loading in and they would say, oh my gosh, I've been sober for 2 days. This is incredible. And we were like, gosh, like, all right, add you to the list. It was incredible.
That's amazing.
I'm going to just also hop in with a slight observation and keeping it a little personal here. So I've been sober like my whole life.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just someone who alcohol never appealed to me.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Look over here.
Yeah.
And I used to joke with friends, because like when I was younger in my 20s and living in New York, the amount of times people would be like, come on, just drink, just like try a drink. And I would joke that what I wanted to do was order like a dirty martini without the alcohol and just the olives. So like I wanted like a glass with the olives. And I have found in my own experience lately that when I am in a bar setting and I tell the bartenders that I'm sober, just like how much they light up now with the like, oh, cool, we have, blue, 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 blue.
Yes.
So that's what y'all are selling,
we love
right?
That brand. Yes, exactly. Yes.
One of our top sellers.
Yeah, we love that. We love Blue 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 Blue. Totally. And I think not to overuse the word shift, but that's definitely happening a lot. And a lot of people are again, you don't want to be at the kids' table just because you don't drink. And whether it's you never did, you don't want to that night, or it's hour 2 of starting a new journey for you, you should be able to have something that's tasty, that is sexy, that's compelling, that means you're part of the party. If it's just a jar of olives, great. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's and for a long time we've just all been told and all been taught that alcohol is the only way you can celebrate. It's the only way that you can grieve. It's the only way that you can relax,
Socialize. Yeah,
totally. And I think too, in our experiences in our careers, we've seen how people network and get to know each other and connect with each other. Or think that they're connecting with each other, And realize
booze has to be the central piece of that.
Yeah.
If you don't have a bar, then what the hell are you even having a party for? Why are you having a reception?
Yeah.
No point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it seems like there is a little bit of, to your point, a shift where there's a lot more people kind of talking about like either being sober or being sober curious and having some of these options. And it seems like there's so many like options out there. I mean, like it feels like there's, a new brand that's popping up that's like alcohol free or has like aptogens or all of those things. So how do you guys kind of decide what goes on the shelves?
Great question.
Yeah.
So there are literal thousands of brands and seemingly more popping up by the day. And
or
so,
alcohol brands, de-alcohol, like White Claw Zero happening.
Yeah. Seltzer.
So
Don't
yeah.
basically
This guy.
Yeah, right. But okay.
Don't say that to them. They'll be very
Okay.
Sorry, I take it back.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of labels out there. And so we keep a like highly curated selection of items because again, there are shops out there that carry hundreds, if not thousands of things. And people can walk in there and be very overwhelmed, especially if you're new to that journey. Like you don't want to look at 20 different bottles of, non-alcoholic wine because, you just want one that is going to be good and going to be comparable to what you're used to. Say all that to say, we carry, a handful of each thing, ones that we've tasted and tested and can stand behind, or it comes from someone that we trust and value their opinion. They've recommended that. And so when you walk in, we have a very firm idea of what it's going to taste like. If you give us any idea of what you like, we can lead you to something in that direction. And, you can walk away with something that, we know that you're going to enjoy.
Oh, love that. Love that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm going to like stick still in the personal realm too of just like, what have been some of the moments in customer interface that have just like really stood out to you?
I mean, those are the things that drive us.
Yeah.
So and honestly, it's as if we don't talk enough to each other all day, every day. It's constantly I'm texting Joe, telling him another story that's been.
It's our favorite thing to talk about at the end of the day because this stuff is very taxing, honestly, emotionally, physically. Like we're having to carry boxes, we're having to stock shelf. Like it takes a lot of time, and energy, and we have other jobs and responsibilities and things like that we're working on in conjunction with trying to build this brand and build this shop. So when people come in, they're like, "Thank God you guys are here. I've been sober for X amount of time, and it's just been really tough because I do feel isolated. I don't know how to talk." With my family about it. And I feel like I'm on an island by myself during the holidays. And like they share that piece of themselves that means so much to us that they would, feel comfortable to do that. And we can supply them with something that makes them feel a little less alone. That means the world to us.
Yeah. And like specifically during the holidays, I was even shocked at how many people just said, look, I'm trying to get sober for the 100th time, or I'm trying to quit drinking. I don't want to have that conversation with my family right now. I'm going to go see all of them. I don't want to sit down and express what's happening. So I want to bring something that looks like a bottle of tequila. And I'm just going to pour it into the margaritas. And I'm going to say, this is my brand. And it's just, I get to have that conversation on my timeline without someone going, are you pregnant? Or what's going on, or what? Just have a shot with us and just sort of eliminate that. And then there's people who come in and go, I'm on day 7 of my sobriety, and I'm just can't get the craving of a glass of wine out of my brain. And so, what can just help me through that? And I remember being exactly in that same spot. And what I would just take a bottle of Pellegrino. And I would just chug the bottle going like, this is champagne, or whatever. And like now I'm like, oh, we have like a beautiful Blanc de Blanc that's been, aged for 12 months, retains a lot of the flavor of a really sophisticated champagne. Treat yourself with that tonight, and just enjoy those flavors that have been carefully and thoughtfully curated so that you can have this experience without changing your sobriety, without a hangover, and bringing feelings of, potential shame and guilt to you. Yeah. And so things like that recently, I mean, those ones in particular have been really moving for me. Yeah.
So, can you talk to us a little bit about Dear Dry Drinkery, the name, the title? And I've heard you say dear experiences and, that sort of thing. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. And I think we ultimately, the concept of dear, we just want to help people connect to the moments that they hold dear, to the people they hold dear, whether that is their job or their family or their relationship. Because a lot of times with alcohol, you literally black out. Like you miss out on moments that could potentially be beautiful or memorable.
Yeah.
And so, with kind of out to drinking, we want to help people sort of just form those connections better.
Mm.
And sometimes even like with the events that we have, people are like, oh, I feel like I'm drunk. And, and we've just been drinking these, canned, non-alc gin and tonics. And we just sort of like have to be like, yeah, that's called like, excitement about bonding with people, and sometimes with booze, you sort of rob yourself of that where it was really just the euphoria of this, addictive substance that you're drinking that's formulated to make you feel that way. But it's synthetic. It's inauthentic oftentimes or fleeting, where we had that drunken night. And I'll always remember that night where there's a lot of people who do these events and then they go, gosh, like, I'm so glad I made a friend there. And now we're connecting and we're going on these walks and we're doing XYZ. And we're like, yeah, that's the thrill of getting back to, honestly, how we were when we were kids, making friends, hopefully sober. And just, the excitement of just like, we connected, we watched the same movies or we thought that thing was so funny. And it's great to see people light up in that way. And that's where the dear name is like, yes, we want these moments to be so dear to you. These are the moments that we felt when we were sort of trying these things and hosting things without booze. Those nights and those moments were so dear to us.
Oh.
We want to share that.
Oh.
And we couldn't help with the alliteration. And
I love it.
It's always fun to watch you say Dear Dry Drinkery and really just make sure people stumble.
Vocal exercise, Dear Dry Drinkery.
We're helping out in more ways than one.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
That's absolutely.
Afterwards, our enunciation
It's gonna
will
be
be
perfect.
Exactly.
So you talked a little bit about like some of the events that you guys have had, and I've seen some stuff on the social medias. So can you talk a little bit about like some of the stuff that you guys are doing inside of the shop?
Yeah, we're doing, we do dry drinks classes every month. So it's basically, bartenders will come in and partner with some of the brands that we carry and teach a group of people like how to mix and make beautiful, thoughtful, creative cocktails with
Oh my
that
gosh,
stuff.
that's so cool.
Because a lot of people are, I don't know, they get in this weird mindset where it's like a non-alcoholic tequila. What do I do with that? And you're like, make a margarita like you would normally.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people just, and it helps create that community, right? Like people want to be around people who are like-minded and want to share that space with them. And again, just feel less alone in what they're going through as a non-drinker. And so we try to cultivate that as much as we can. We do a lot of community events. So we did one around like Dry January and Sober October. Again, we just partner with a brand. They'll come in and share some of their wares, and we'll just have like food and just have people come in and just hang out and like get to know each other and make friends. Because again, it could be really, really isolating to just be in that space and be a non-drinker. And there are very few places for people to go, especially in the city where there are 2 streets literally dedicated to drinking.
Yeah.
It could be tough. And so we just want to help, as much as we can, just create a space for people to come in and feel just welcome and non-judged and, just have a good time.
Yeah. Next thing you know, there's going to be like a sober street.
Yeah.
Like somewhere, right?
That'd be great.
Second, fourth, sixth, and maybe 8th.
Yeah, totally.
Just all around.
You got some wheels turning. Yeah. Love that.
And then we also do sort of creative-based events. So we do craft and chill events. So people come in and, they just painted succulents last week. And we're doing a collage event that's upcoming next month. And so we, again, like Grace mentioned, like we want people to have that like childlike innocence and fun and feel like you can just have like fun and be playful and, maybe for an hour or two lose the restraints of being an adult and the responsibilities and just chill.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of normalizing other social behavior beyond here we are centered around a bar.
Yeah. I think too, like when I stopped drinking, I realized I was like, oh God, I hate bars. I hate bars. I was like, they're boring. Sorry, Joe, but sometimes the sports game that's on is not appealing. And unless you're with someone you love.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, like these atmospheres, they rely so heavily on the alcohol to be the entertainment that I'm bored. And so it helped me sort of hold the spaces I go to a higher standard of like, if I'm really going to take my time to leave my house and go here and spend money, it better be a beautiful, it better be gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, take it easy. But we love going to like art installations or just places that are thoughtfully, made and thoughtfully thought out. Genius. But just something in it where you can connect with other people without, again, like that, just reliance on alcohol to be the glue, the party starter, all of that. And then a big reason why we selected sort of this, it's an old house really that the shop is in that was built in like the 1920s. And we wanted sort of this feeling of like, I also remember getting sober and thinking, I don't want to be stuck in a basement for the rest of my life, surrounded by people who seemed miserable. That's what I thought sobriety was going to be. And so it's very colorful. There's a lot of sunlight in there. It feels also kind of like a living room. We want that comforting, bright feeling so that when people think of not drinking alcohol, it doesn't go to smoking outside of a church basement and just sort of this like grumpy, angry, dark feelings. Again, I had a lot of preconceived
drinking black coffee, wearing a leather jacket. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it kind of sounds fun, but
rooting and
yeah. And so yeah, just I don't know where I was going with that, but sort of this welcoming, comforting atmosphere that just it's not relying on something synthetic.
Yeah.
I have maybe kind of I hope not too difficult question. Y'all are pros. To me, it sounds like y'all are really mission specific and that you've got such a clear vision. And so what have been some of the moments where it feels like something is veering it off course?
I'm like, you can look through our emails. I mean, it can be difficult to run a successful business that makes money and grows, just based off of, gosh, we love this, and gosh, this makes us so happy. And so there are tedious things like maintaining a vision and wanting to really spend one-on-one time with quite literally every single customer who comes in, and then going, oh, we just got a whole box of broken bottles and we have to now communicate, that we need a return on this or whatever, or someone's expecting XYZ shipment in. Just those tedious things that can really go, we thought we loved this. And there's just everyday logistics that just make it tough and take up time that, that it can veer on the path of like, did we just turn the thing we love into something that is just incredibly taxing?
Yeah. And I would say that convincing other people that it's an actual business too, in a way where like people it's not necessarily a bad thing, but people are reaching out wanting to like use our space. And it might be like charitable organizations that we, fully support or want to support. And, we still have to pay rent. And so, we can't always lend the space out or, donate product or whatever that looks like, because that stuff costs money and we have bills and things to pay. And so it's just sort of bridging that gap of like, how do we show our support for these people and the organizations and a community that we obviously very care so deeply for, but also pay our bills and so that's a bit of a catch-22 in that regard too.
Yeah. Well, what when you're thinking about the learnings that you guys have had in the process of building the business and getting in there and being passionate about it and having this mission and vision, like what are some things that you guys have personally learned about yourselves in this process?
You got to say no.
Yeah.
Even if it's going to disappoint someone, you have to protect your time and your peace at the expense of other people's, sometimes as well. yeah, you have to really get good at like delegating and carving out time for stuff. Like we're still in our relationship. That's very important to us. And like sometimes we go to dinner and don't want to talk about Dear for, we have to like catch ourselves. Like, all right, like we have to ask, like, can I bring up a Dear question right now? Because that stuff is never ending and it's just us running that business and working on it. And so the waters can get muddied in that regard. And so we have to, just really be diligent about how we, delegate our time and our resources and things like that.
That's really great that you have that awareness. So a lot of people...
We didn't always. And and we have to be really mindful of it.
Yeah, that and sort of the control aspect is something that I struggle with, that of just sort of letting go, like even hiring people to be in the shop where I'm like, what if they don't talk about the, this very specific spirit that doesn't taste like whiskey? I'm like, what if they don't talk about it the right way? And that's me being like, okay, all right, maybe that's okay. And dealing with that. But then on the flip side, I think we've learned that we can do this, which was honestly mind-blowing. We just, again, we've supported a lot of entrepreneurs. We've supported people running their businesses and making tons of money. And for us to own our own business, and we talk about this a lot, like the opening it on the first day and having one customer come up, that's success. Like we've done it. And after all the nights and the noodles and the emails and the whatever, to see just that come to life, there were several days and months where we did not know that if that would happen, and learning that we can do this, we can bring things to life. It was huge. That was a big learning thing for us.
And we've made some massive mistakes along the way, some very costly mistakes along the way. And to know that we can overcome those and still triumph was huge.
Biggest mistake?
Love that one.
There's so many. Our logo was one.
Yeah. And this wasn't necessarily our fault, but, we thought we would save some money using a sort of design company or whatever, and so we got a logo design. This is like obviously very early on.
This is online. It's sort of a $99 thing. Like you can get a logo, and we were like, cool.
We just need something to put on everything, and so we did that. We thought we were in the clear, and this is like when we were building our trailer, and so the guys are manufacturing it. It was ready to go. All they needed from us was the logo, and so we rushed, got that done. We went to LA for a little like pre-launch vacation. And by happenstance, we walked down a street to go to a ice cream shop, and they had literally the same logo, same
color,
type, face, same everything.
You were walking down a street and you ran into an ice cream shop.
I wanted vegan ice cream, and I wanted to walk there. You're welcome. We
literally, it was crazy. Like if we didn't leave, we were leaving a movie. If we didn't leave at that, that right time, we walked in that. We would just happen to be close by that particular ice cream shop.
And they just rebranded.
Yeah, they just rebranded, and
and they were.
We'll show you guys after.
It's
insane. Divine intervention, whatever you want to call it. And so we had to scramble, and thankfully, one of our good friends is a designer, and she helped us create the branding that we have now, which is like way more beautiful, way more unique than the previous logo.
Obviously, more unique.
Yeah. Still expensive, even though it's our friend, but we.
But we had gotten, cups and napkins and other tchotchkes printed. And so
did you send it to the ice cream shop? You're like, hey, guys.
We did.
Yeah.
And they were like, we have no idea what you guys are talking about. And we reached out to the design company that did it. And they were like, well, they did this first. And so we were at a loss. And so, we lost thousands of dollars worth of merchandise.
Wow. Okay, well, so what did you learn from that?
If you really want to save money, don't. I think it was just cutting corners for something that is going to express who you are and what you're doing is just not going to be the way to do it. And if you think you can get something done quickly, and if you think that the hack, if you've come up with a hack really quickly, that's probably not going to work.
You have to take time for things like that.
Lesson I'm still learning.
I mean, my gosh. Yeah, of course. We all are.
That's insane.
We still have
That
nightmares
is
about it.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the vision? Like, where do you guys want to go? Like, what's next for you guys?
What's crazy is that like going into this year, we had all these goals of like, we wanted to be featured in certain publications. We wanted to be sort of seen. Again, we just want sort of, we just wanted, I guess, recognition, but not recognition, but we wanted people to come in and not just judge automatically. So we thought that through certain publications and even with specific influencers, we could get a little bit of that, exposure that could just bring people in who may otherwise be closed off to this concept. And I was like, by the end of 2024, I'd love for this, and to happen. And that happened within like the first 10 days of the year. And
gosh.
It's been incredible. So from here, we're kind of like, well, shoot.
And
Yeah.
to take a step even, back from that, like when we had the trailer, we thought we were going to have that for a year or two. Like we didn't think that we would have a brick and mortar. Cause again, when we were conceiving of having the shop, when we were going to different spots, they were like, no, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And so the idea that we got our actual brick and mortar so quickly, that was a huge goal in itself. And that happened way quicker than we thought it would.
Ugh.
So now we're like, shit, sorry.
It's fine.
That's okay.
It's how
let's
we are.
cuss a
We
lot
can
more.
Talk bad here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's like having your own business. You just
now we're
constantly.
like,
day.
Yeah,
wow, we
same.
have to think of new goals and aim higher. And so that's been a fun process to kind of figure out like, what is next? That's
What
the
a
question.
great problem to have.
Yeah.
Totally.
So good.
And something that we've learned about ourselves too is that our goal setting is maybe even not where it could be. Like we've even set, these are goals we were like, we're reaching for the sky. This is nuts. And really we were just reaching for something that was actually totally doable. And so, yes, we are kind of in a moment of just reevaluating what we can do and where we actually want to take this. If it is expanding locations, if it is honestly me just hiring one person, and getting over my control issues, and things like that.
Yeah, we get a lot of like bar managers and restaurants in the area who are looking to, capitalize on the idea of having more non-alcoholic stuff on their menus. And so they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Like,
my gosh.
can you guys just help us? And so we're thinking of maybe expanding into consulting in a restaurant.
Yes,
So,
so smart.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, it just goes to show you, like, if you have a passion for something and then you recognize that there's a gap in a need and step into the gap, like how strong the business could potentially be.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who would listen to the people who said, no, I'm sorry. We're laughing at you for like thinking of coming into this brick and mortar and like look at what you guys have done. So like it's amazing.
And I think too for those supporting, I mean, for the people who did say, I love this, how that holds so much more weight and that was so powerful. And we're so grateful that those people did, even in just a fleeting moment, say, this is awesome. I think, I would love to go to that idea. That is huge, and the power of those words and that kind of support can be totally transformative, because we've definitely had moments of just like, what are we doing?
Why are we doing it?
What? And that can make all the difference, especially with all of the people going, huh?
Yeah.
I like beer with beer in it, and you're like, oh great, oh got
Cool,
it,
dude.
thank you, yeah, totally.
And we know it's just a matter of time for those people to catch on to you.
Oh, 100%. Like I'm sure everybody knows somebody who's going through sobriety
Totally.
in some way, shape, or form. And I just think about companies and organizations that are throwing parties, like how much more inclusive it would be if they have an option,
Absolutely.
to have you guys or the truck in a space, so that there's another place for them, for team members to go, so that they feel like a part of, of the organization, and like not so isolated.
Yeah. I think there's a huge level of like, just how do you bring people to be aware, right? Because I think it's like coming back to there being that gap, that knowing that there is something to fill it, that it's just like, let's just get it out in front of people.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
But building awareness can be its own beast.
Totally. And that's also, it some days we're like, we just kind of want to be a shop. And then there is a lot of people who are like the awareness and these big things. And yes, that, that can be true. And it's sort of juggling sort of two plus a million other things of what you're really doing, right? Are you changing the world, or are you just a shop on the East Side? But at the same time, like, I remember doing Flip Cup with the team was that was your only thing that you could do. And I was like, well, shoot, would love it if I had the option to pour, just a really great bubbling something in here instead of water, which they were like, you'll be fine with that.
Right.
And when we do think of inclusivity and we do think about team bonding for companies,
holiday parties. Yeah. Like how many people make a fool of themselves every year and then have to regret, what they did the night before, or it cost them their job. Like, so, we get a lot of corporations and businesses reaching out being like, we want to mitigate that. And we want you guys to help.
We want to keep our VPs, and we want them to be respected when they, when they throw meetings or whatever. Yeah, throw meetings. I'm like, it's a party basically, right?
Anything could be.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, where can people learn more about what you guys are doing here in Austin?
You can go to our website, deardrydrinkery.com, or follow us on Instagram at Dear Dry Drinkery. Or if you want to reach out to us directly, email us at hello@dearatx.com.
Oh,
you said that so effortlessly.
Maybe like we've been practicing for a year.
I've said it a couple million times in my life. Yeah.
Practice in the car.
Well, Dear Dry Drinkery. We love you guys. Thank you guys for being on the show. We really appreciate you. And this was super, super fun and so exciting to learn what you guys are doing, changing the world.
Yeah. But legit. Actually, right. Like that's the thing is there's always that like, but you're changing someone's world.
Exactly.
Yes. 100%.
But really, I think there is that with what y'all's business is.
Yeah.
Well, thank
You're
you.
very kind. And Leslie, you've been a huge supporter of us since
my gosh.
since day one. So we want to thank you for having us here and being able to tell the story, because it's people like you and platforms like this that allow us to, share that message far and wide. So
anytime. Shout it from the rooftops. I'll be there. Liking, and liking.
Yeah.
Mother.
Amazing. We love it. Huge mother. Huge mother spray everywhere. We're doing it.
I love you guys. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. And please subscribe to the As You Are podcast on all major platforms. And we will see you again soon.